Hey guys, Steven here back with another video, and today I'll be talking about my favorite portrait lens, the Sigma 30mm f1.4. I've been taking portraits since like last summer, and through that process I've gone through like a lot of the lenses. I've used different cameras, and this still is my favorite lens. But if you guys want more like recommendation, gear videos like this, comment below what type of videos, like microphones or cameras or something like that, and hit the thumbs up button so I know. With that being said, let's just get into the video. So for this lens, I would only really recommend it for portraits. You can use it for other stuff, but it really is specialized for portraits, in my opinion at least. There's a couple reasons why I think this. So the first reason why I love this lens for portraits is because it's not too zoomed in like a 50mm, like an 85mm, but it isn't so wide. Like this is a Sigma lens as well. It has the same aperture, same everything, except the focal length is super wide. And whenever I try to take portraits with this, it would, obviously not be so good because the distance between me and this camera is like this much. So like this, I don't know, like the distance of like a laptop screen. My laptop's actually here, so I was trying to find something like a scale, but like the distance of like a laptop screen, and that would be very awkward for me when I would take pictures of models. They're like, are you getting like my entire face, like, or are you like super zoomed in? Like they'd get confused. Like I was doing a prom photo shoot and I was using this lens for portraits, and I would get super close and they wanted like a full body photo, and with this I didn't have to stand so far to get that, and they were wondering why. Like I was like pretty close to them and I was taking a full body photo. But yeah, so with this, it's not too wide and you can stay a pretty good distance away from the subject, but you don't have to go to the other side of a street to take a photo. I know with like the 50mm, so this lens right here, what happens is if you're in a park or something and you want to take a photo, like a nice photo, like a portrait, you would have to go like super far from a person. And you can even imagine with like an 85mm, you would have to stand even farther. So with this lens, you don't have to like run on the other side of the street to take a cool photo. Or like I know a lot of times with this lens, I don't know why this is in here, I know a lot of times with this lens, when I'm in a room, especially like a closed room, it's hard to take photos because, it's so zoomed up on their face. So I like this focal length. I know there's a similar focal length, the Sony 35mm f1.8. The thing with that is, first of all, it's more expensive and it's basically the same. Like there's only a couple of like affordable portrait lenses I would recommend, and it would be this lens, the Sony 50mm, this lens, the Sigma 30mm, and the Sony 35mm. So those three lenses, out of the three, I think this is the cheapest, the 50mm, and then this is the second cheapest, and then the Sony 35mm is the third cheapest, so the most expensive. Another reason why this is so good is because of the 1.4 aperture. It creates a very blurry background. So this is actually a 1.4 lens right here, so you can see how it looks like. Imagine if it was kind of zoomed in a little bit more and a little bit more blurry. It's even more blurry with this lens, the 50mm, because it has a greater focal length and it's zoomed in a bit more. But like I said, I like the focal length being 30. So yeah, it creates really blurry backgrounds. That means it's also pretty good for low light photography as well. I do a lot of low light portraits. The next advantage I think this has over other portrait lenses is it's pretty lightweight. Compared to the other Sony lenses, like the Sony 35mm, it's not as lightweight, but because it's for Sony E-mount and it's for mirrorless cameras, it's still pretty light compared to like DSLR cameras. So it's pretty light, it's pretty small. So you can see it's not that much bigger than, a 50mm. And compared to this lens, the 60mm, it's much smaller. This is a pretty heavy lens. This is like in between this and this. Like I'm a pretty small guy, and this is pretty light. So compare this to the Sony 35mm. This has worse autofocus because it's not a native Sony lens, so it will obviously not be as good. But compared to like other third-party lenses, the autofocus is pretty good. I think if you're taking portraits, you shouldn't have a problem. Like it's pretty close to the Sony autofocusing, just slightly slower. But with video, it's much slower. So I wouldn't really recommend this for video, but you could still do video. But the only advantage that the Sony has is that it is lighter, which I don't really care about that much, and it's autofocus. And surprisingly, this Sigma lens is much better in autofocus. I don't know why they don't like put the same autofocusing stuff in this, But like with this lens, it's amazing. So if they make an updated version of this, or like release something very similar, I would think that Sigma would make the autofocusing better, because I think that the autofocusing on this is just as good as on this Sony native lens. I also think it's sharper with this lens than the Sony 35mm. I think the colors are better on this. I think it's cheaper. I know it's cheaper. I know the aperture is better, you know, it does better on low light. So overall, this lens is better, you know, in all aspects. It's cheaper, so why not? Okay, so we're gonna get into like the examples. I'm gonna just show them on screen right now. A lot of them are portraits. I'm gonna try to show some photos that aren't portraits to show like the versatility of it, because 30mm is actually pretty good focal length for like basically everything. And this is 30mm on a crop sensor. I actually took a trip to Vegas in California just last week, but yeah, hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. Hopefully it helped you out. My name's Steven, and I'll see you in the next one.